Welcome to Lesson 1, Installing and Configuring Your Development Environment. There's a number of steps you need to perform before you'll be ready to start developing Android apps. We'll start by talking about the system requirements, and one of those key requirements is that you must be on a Windows, Mac OS X, or Linux system for development purposes. Then we'll talk about the various software that we need to install, and we'll walk you through the installation process. Now, the first thing we'll talk about installing is the Java Development Kit, which is required not only for running the Eclipse integrated development environment, but also because Java is the primary development language for Android. After we get that installed, we'll take a look at installing the Eclipse IDE, and then we'll install the so-called Android SDK, Software Development Kit. Now, the Android SDK has tools built into it to help you with Android development, but it does not have all of the Android platforms built into it. So after we install the SDK, we're going to install two other key pieces: the Android Development Tools plugin for Eclipse, and also the individual Android platforms for which we'll be doing development. Now, Android has iterated many times at this point, and the most recent iteration is Android 4.0, which again just came out around the time that we were recording these videos. And it's important to install each of the different platforms that you would like your app to run on so that you can then test on those different platforms. Now, after we get all the software installed, we're going to show you how to configure so-called Android Virtual Devices, or AVDs. And an Android virtual device basically mimics an actual device but runs in the Android emulator on your computer so that you can test most features of your Android apps by running them inside the emulator. Now, even with some apps, you will have to test them on an actual Android device because there are features that the emulator doesn't support. So after we get you set up with Android virtual devices, we'll also tell you, if you have an Android device to test with, how to configure it for testing and debugging purposes.